Markku, would you introduce yourself?
Yes, I am Markku Siivola. I am retired about 10 years. I worked as a psychiatrist before. Now the years are behind dim memories about that time of my life. And what concerns dreams, I have had these dream groups 40 years. And I am still very, you can see what I have told to you before. I don't remember words. My memory has gone down. I don't remember English words. And I have to do so that I can.
But Markku, you can say it in Finnish, and Nina will translate into English. We do that here all the time with the Taiwanese people and Chinese and even with me. I mean, my memory's no good. Look at my age. My memory's no good either. So Nina will give you the words you need.
Yes, so that
in Finnish.
I am interested. I love dreams. And I think that I don't continue with this description more because it's enough now. So I don't need a translation now. So that now it's your turn.
Markku, could you tell the people what this video is, and what it's for, what we're doing? To introduce it and.
No, you tell it, of course. It has been your orchestration. You have your my role is here.
I'll say something. I just want to say the date because this is going. This is November 19th, 2021, and this is an interesting video because we have three people here. We have Markku Siivola, who's a founder of the Finnish Dream Group Forum, and with this wonderful yearly gathering at the Friendship Inn, and also he's the one who constructed the Montague Ullman website that everybody in the world uses. And then we have Julia.Lockheart from England, and she'll tell more about herself. She's a professor and an artist. And so she comes with a slightly different take than Markku, who's a psychotherapist. And the third one is Nina. Now, I don't know if I can pronounce this right, so I'll just call her Nina P. The third one is Nina P. And Nina P is an interesting person, a psychotherapist. I don't know her, I'm meeting her now for the first time, but she's a psychotherapist and a psychologist, a clinical psychologist. And she uses shamanistic tendencies in her dream group. Now, the thing in common with all four of us here is we all lead Montague Ullman experiential dream groups. And what this video is about is Iain Mcgilchrist has written this book, The Master and His Emissary. I don't need screen sharing for this. This is the book. And it's very interesting because when I read this many years ago, I'm rereading it now, and I'm learning more this time than last time. When I read it many years ago, it blew my socks off because everything he said about the left brain is exactly what those of us who lead Ullman dream groups discover about dreams. So he's talking left brain and I'm seeing dreams. And I'm saying, holy cow, it's pretty obvious to me left brain and dreams are connected. Well, it turns out that it seems like these neuroscientists are really afraid to make that connection outright because the reputations to protect and everything. But we're dream group leaders and we have no neuroscience capabilities whatsoever, at least I don't. And we can see from working with dreams that dreams do the same thing that the left brain does. They speak the same language, metaphor, et cetera, et cetera. I'm going to let Markku finish it. But that's the original idea behind this video. And so,
Bill, can I interject?
Yeah.
Do you mean the right brain?
I'm just
Because the right.
You know, I do that because I'm left-handed, so I switch it around.
Oh, I see.
I'm sorry.
Oh, I see.
You're right.
Yeah.
Did I mix everybody up? Thank you. Now, Markku has made an interesting discovery. He's discovered recently, he discovered an old article, a professional paper by Montague Ullman that puts forth an idea very similar to Mcgilchrist's idea. And nobody knew about this. And so he's going to show us this, and also he's going to talk to us about various things. And he's going to start now. And then from now on, he'll introduce people and carry it, and then he'll make a conclusion to this video. Go ahead, Markku.
Yes. So you talked, I show first this old article from 1975 by Montague Ullman. I think that you see it now. I don't read it through because you have it already, but that what was for me very interesting is this with blue text, so that Ullman writes, we reach out for support with only our right hand to grasp at what we think are a succession of solid structures. This is the master hand, that the hand that enables us to master nature, to see the world as object and deal with the world objectively. So that it is exactly what Mcgilchrist when he talks 30 years later. And this is a hand of science, as science has come to be practiced. And using only the right hand, we do achieve a differentiated state, but one that never what gets us out of the water. Exact Mcgilchrist's the text. What is here? There have been various ways of noting this duality, apart from the right brain, left brain dichotomy implied in the metaphor, the way of science versus the way of mysticism, the categorizing versus the contextual mode of information processing. And I cannot discern it from Mcgilchrist's texts. Then I don't read any more from this, so that, and it is, of course, you can find it in internet too. It is Ullman's site. And you only search with Google this and this, you find it there. And I will show this Ullman's picture after a while when I'm presenting my own most important things. And this is one thing that David Bohm, the physicist, has given much words and concepts to Montague Ullman, and I wanted to show David Bohm's name because Ullman has been most interested in Worm's concepts. Okay, and I think that is all about that paper, and then I can take those very few slides from my long presentation, which takes an hour or two, but I take only some slides, and it doesn't take many minutes, and then my part is over. And again, share screen, and it's in here. I want to show out of the box topic, because this topic is not directly to dreams. It's the background of dreams. It is much more bigger thing than that dreams. This is my can I start it? Yes, I place dreams like this, the mother of mental images, and then you can see it in religions, arts, fantasies, fairy tales, but these are the outer world images contaminated by our waking ego. All these are contaminated.
Markku, can we participate now, or do you want to wait until it's over? Because I have something to say about this slide.
Okay, but shortly.
Okay. Now we have one person here, Julia, who's an artist, and I'm a writer. So I am very interested in myths, fantasies, fairy tales, and I'm also very interested in religions. And I agree that the waking ego has contaminated religion, art, myths, fantasy, all that stuff. But in their pure form, I don't think they're contaminations. I think they're expressions of the same thing that dreams express. Julia, what do you think?
I wanted to go through these slides first.
Oh, okay, I won't say
and then we continue. I can take them back, so, but now I continue. There is that factor X casts shadows into our own daytime world. And this is one of my pictures, how I place dreams. Dream groups try to make that state more big. So dream groups try go to the mental state what dream sleep and dream images are, and we have work here, but we are not as a group capable of go deeper. But individual can go deeper. These are individual experiences. And here we can see dream groups try to dive into deeper layers of dreams towards factor X. Spontaneous individual experiences may lead still deeper, still much deeper, even beyond dreams. These are David Bohm's concepts, this perceptual order, waking state, explicit order, what is in this universe, but implicate order is that what is beyond any what we can see and experience. And now comes Montague Ullman's slide. Ullman and David Bohm, this is the successive transformation of implicate into explicate. This is original Ullman picture he had and showed to us. Black hole of the psyche is implicate, is hidden. And it contains an enormously condensed information mass completely outside our ordinary senses. Then the information mass casts shadows into our dreaming state as visual images, now in a bit less condensed form here. But it's not enough yet. We have to continue. These are implicate to the dream group, and they are not even understood by the dreamer herself here. And then the process goes. She comes to dream group, and we are beginning to talk about it. Now a second transformation stage occurs when we wake up and share the images with others, both on the language level and feeling level. This makes the images collectively visible. And this is now my out of the box experiencing that if I make it very clear, so which is, wait a moment, mitä on kärjistää? Niina, kärjistää.
Nina, what's that word in English?
Exaggerate a little, yes.
Yeah, okay. And we have dream groups. I am interested in dreams. You are interested in dreams. But I am much more interested in black hole of the psyche. So in a way, dreams are a second rank things. They are not pure. This dreaming does not show our mental core in our psyche. It's much more deeper. And this black hole of the psyche is what I can call factor X or samadhi or God or you name it. Anyway, religions have given thousands and thousands of names for it. But Ullman's concept is this black hole of the psyche, which he got from David Bohm. And because, okay, I don't go more to it. And now I go a little bit here down. It's a couple of slides left. All these you can see here on the left are Mcgilchrist and dreams and so on. But I don't talk about them. You can talk about them. I go down and down and down and down and down a little bit here. Dream groups, I go. Here is that, which is my most important things. Main keys for understanding dreams are unlearning, unknowing, to know that we don't know anything. If you want to know something, go elsewhere. If you want to unknow everything, then sit and listen. Stephen Gray, he said that once. This is what is very important. Jung says that I have no idea what this dream means. Only after that I can begin to examine the dream. Montague Ullman said about unlearning, it is to so distance myself from what I think I know about dreams generally, and this particular dream specifically, and so that all a priori assumptions are drained out of my system. Only then do I feel properly prepared to receive what is being conveyed to me from the dreamer. Barry Marshall, the co-discoverer of Helicobacter pylori, he won Nobel Prize in Medicine 2005. He said the greatest obstacle to discovery is not ignorance, it's the illusion of knowledge. And even in dream groups, we have so much illusions of knowledge that we think that we know something about what dreams are. And note these connections to creative arts and religious, spiritual, transpersonal experiences. These gentlemen here. Okay, Confucius, real knowledge is to know the extent of one's own ignorance. So, what is this real knowledge? How to find this real knowledge? You cannot find this knowledge by meditations, religions, prayers, yoga, mindfulness, Zen, science. You cannot find it in any external or internal exercises and techniques, not even by dream groups and arts. The only ways, these are the qualities of the inner compass we all have. Honesty, it can be said, honesty, sincerity, truthfulness, and authenticity. They are absolutely necessary on our journey towards complete unknowing. We feel them in our hearts, but we don't know how to listen to them. Methods are much more superficial. This is no method. This is our, I would like to say, spiritus rector. These are the qualities. If these are missing, you can get only very superficial explanations, even in dream groups, what those dreams mean. And usually, when the dream groups quit, there are many of those dream group members who think they know more about the dreams, but they have not seen. In dream groups, they have seen a couple of waves, which is fantastic to see, but they don't understand the ocean behind all that, the unlimited ocean. And and that's why the ocean is my interest, not what dreams are. Dream groups are among the most significant external gateways to learn more of our true authenticity. That's why I have dream groups. Dream groups are among the most significant external gateways to learn more of our true authenticity. And it's exactly the same interest what you have. But the deepest core is still missing. Orvo Raipamaa, the man who I think was the most intelligent man I have seen, he said about like this: when all the paths to truth have turned out to be deadlocks, there remains only one possibility left for the seeker. And what is that only, that one possibility to the seeker? That possibility is not possible. So that the seeker sees that nothing, he cannot do anything to find that the truth. But when he understands it is not possible, no way goes there. No ways go to that understanding. Absolutely, 100% absolutely. He has to bump into this impossibility. If he doesn't bump into this possibility, all his ways, all his methods will be superficial. This possibility is the only real, only valid possibility, and that the possibility is when we understand it's not possible for our waking ego. This may seem merciless when we really understand how totally fruitless our seeking has been. Then we can suddenly understand the real nature of truth. You can see how extremely controversial this is. This is an oxymoron. This is not logical, what I say. That most important thing is not logical. It cannot be reached by logic, by explanation. And that is for me most interesting. And what is, I think, that which has on the practical, I don't continue it here. This has, dream groups have helped me in my psychiatric work too. And that my experiences about this, what you see on the screen, have helped me, because when I know that I don't know, only then I can really listen. If I think that I know something, knowing is petrifying himself. Any knowledge about life, about human being, is which is withering. It doesn't live. And what I have showed here, you can see in it countless religions, countless experiences, artists, ordinary men, and all religions. They say it in different ways, but this is the same thing all around, and so few find it. Okay, that is my contribution to that, what I think is important. And like you see, it is completely deeper and outside of dreams. Okay, you continue. I not any more to say about this, my most important thing. Then we can begin to talk about dreams and arts and so on. But my message was this.
I wonder if Julia or Nina have any comments to make. to discuss some of these slides.
I just wanted to show this, which arrived in the post this week.
Oh, I wish
And
I
this-
had that book in my hands. Oh,
It's two books. It's two books.
I
But
know.
can you see it's still wrapped in cellophane? I wanted to make that very clear. I've not delved into this yet, but having watched the videos, and that's all my knowledge extends to, that of Mcgilchrist talking about this, the matter of things. Sorry, the matter with things. I beg your pardon. The matter with things. And there are three parts to the book. Is that I think he's also talking about these opposites in real truth, not in superficial truth. And I'm just repeating him here from the videos, that he says that yes, that there are these opposites, that somebody who thinks that they are sorting out the world, for example, someone who says I have the final solution, is in fact creating the most evil thing that could exist. So he's saying that there are these truths, but one always has to consider the opposite of the truth. And he said that
what he says in his books, he says that the truth and the opposite are two parts of the same thing. Jung said
that's it.
It's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
the shadow and that's what he's saying. Not
Yeah,
that you
yeah.
have to consider it, but it's there. It's real.
Yes, yeah.
And we know that with the conscious and unconscious, of course. But go ahead.
No, that was it. Just when Marco was talking, that was what I was thinking. Yes, this maps on also to Mcgilchrist. And the other thing, really, about Mcgilchrist is that what he's done in this incredible way is to survey what everybody has been chipping away and seeing bits and pieces of this for hundreds and hundreds of years. And what he's done in the Master and His Emissary is to sort of show us this this sort of overview of how culture has developed to sort of educate us in the left side of the brain, to educate us in that, and to almost push out and to minimize the aspects of right brain thinking. And of course he always says it's not as simple as left and right and all of those things which we take on board. But yes, I think what you were saying at the beginning, that Montague Ullman had identified these things many years ago. I think lots of people from what Mcgilchrist has shown had these sort of the understandings of these hemispheres. And the strengths and weaknesses of both. And what he did, I think, which is quite incredible, is he just put it into this enormous overview for us so that we can all benefit from it.
Well,
That's why I love
Yes, yeah. And so that was just what you were saying made me think of. Nina, how about you?
Yes, I'm trying to figure out which image to kind of grab. When Markku was speaking, I found my body reacting a lot. So I was I'm aware that something really is happening. I had very strong emotions as well, really kind of a moving sensation. And I've learned to recognize that something is happening. And now I'm in the process of putting that into words. So it's not just in my body, which is always a bit of a challenge. But as with dreams, I would even throw the kind of fishing nets even further into history. The shamanic tradition, about 40,000 years as we recognize it these days, they have had the idea of living in two worlds, which I think is such a wonderful way of recognizing the left and right ways of being, left and right hemisphere ways of being in the world. And there were so many really kind of experiential elements in Markku's the presentation when he was talking about the kind of getting rid of all the a priori knowledge and really emptying the system of the knowing. And I think that's what in the shamanic traditions and shamanic practice, what we do is we hollow out, we really make an effort, we really kind of do whatever it is that helps us to not go into things with the knowledge end, but with another kind of lack of words, but other kind of knowing, which is not that kind of knowing how things are, but really that experiential, that really kind of running out of words, but I think you might get where I'm going. But yeah, so many thoughts and so many paths lead to many places from what Markku was saying. But I think I did love that Montague Ullman's original little slide with the three, the black hole of the psyche and the dreams. And I think that really spoke to me. It's like, again, I don't know how that speaks to me, but there's that kind of connection with what was being said, knowing that this is only a kind of a humble attempt to sort of present something that is beyond words. But yeah, just trying to put things short, but I'm not very good at it. So.
I have something to say about what Julia said. Mcgilchrist didn't just say that through history, this has appeared again and again, our history, our Western history. What he said, what he found is that in all cultures, everywhere, everyone's history, in the Eskimos, American Indians, everywhere, in the myths, the religions, the stories, the fairy tales, this story of the usurpation of one mode of being by the other. And I'll tell you the honest truth, I found it in American education, getting my bachelor's, my master's, my PhD. It was everywhere, you know? And I mean, when I was trained as a research scientist, and everywhere we were told, don't listen to your feelings. This is about logic, this is about reason. It's not about reason. It is about feelings. Feelings are the basis, the pedestal upon which reason stands. So I just wanted to say that Mcgilchrist did more than just history. And the second thing I want to say is Mcgilchrist's book, what's special about it is he went deeply into the neuroscience of the different parts of the brain to show us what's going on in the brain with the left and right brain, et cetera. It's not simple, like Einstein said back in the 80s, the left brain is a language and math, and the right brain is dancing and feeling. No, not at all. Both of them are involved in everything. But what he did is he looked at, his idea was that the left brain and the right brain, although they do the same things, they do them very differently, very, very differently. Their approach is different, their aim is different, et cetera. And the thing is, and next to that, he juxtaposed the whole second part of the book, which I'm rereading it for the second time. I haven't gotten to that part, but it really fascinates me. He juxtaposed that with a history of Western society and showing how gradually through that history, the left brain has been pushed away. Oh, that's superstition. Oh, that's religion. Oh, that's just a myth, you know? And that's just a dream.
Yeah.
It's like saying you're just a woman. You know what I mean? It's a disgusting way of thinking. And that's our society. Those are the two things I wanted to say about Mcgilchrist. I have a lot of things to say about Markku's presentation, but I think they'd be easier to say. Can I go in there now?
Yeah, that's great.
Can I say things?
Yeah.
Okay, I don't think it's true that religion, arts, myths, fantasies, and fairy tales are contaminants. I don't believe that's true. I know it's not true because I practiced Zen Buddhism and meditation for most of my life now, and there's nothing contaminant about that. And the same with the arts. The arts, I'm talking not just talking about painting. I'm talking about literature and drama and all of them, the dancing, the physical arts, the body, the expression of the body. These speak to us. These speak in a language that's not of the left hemisphere. Now, the right hemisphere understands that language, you know? It understands the language of the planet, of the earth, of the ecosystems, of the animals and the plants and the microbes. The left hemisphere is just, well, how can I use this? How can I make money from this? These fairy tales and fantasies and myths, these tell the same truths that our science is trying to tell. So I do not think they're contaminants at all. I think these are authentic attempts for what we get from dreams to emerge, that's trying to get out of us. It's trying to express what we are. And when I say it, I mean we. Like something like 95% of us is unconscious. We're not conscious beings. We're mostly unconscious beings. And that has something to say. If we only learn how to listen to it, our education doesn't teach us that. It teaches the opposite. Don't listen to that. It's bullshit. And there's a book. I'm not into organized religion, organized anything. But one of the best books I ever read about dreams, that's closer to Montague Ullman than any other book, is by this man named Sanford. And Sanford was in California. He was a Episcopal minister. He was a church man, and also he was a Jungian psychotherapist. And he wrote a book called Dreams, the Hidden Language of God. Now that's Markku's, what he calls it, item X, I think, factor X. But that book is an incredible book. It's really incredible. I'm sorry to say so many disagreements, but I disagree that the dream group I disagree that the dream group can't go deep. The dream group is a connection of individuals. And because we begin to operate as one larger brain, there's an experiment done in America a long time ago with some guy in Virginia, the Polytechnic University or something. He took 101 little Apple computers and hooked them together, and he made a computer that was more powerful than the supercomputer the military was using back then. And that's the way 6 or 7 or 8 or 10 people in a dream group work. It works like a larger brain. And what happens is the dream group can go deep. I disagree, it can't go deeper. And I feel the way this happens is that when the dreamer gives an image or a dream, we feel something in ourselves because we're taking it. If this were my dream, it's something deeper. Montague Ullman was a genius. It's not just if this were my dream, like the Americans practice. No, it's deeper. It's that if this image were in my life, if I had brought up this image, what would it mean? Well, it means what it means now. And then the person, the group member, tells what it means. They tell what the image means because they're speaking for themselves. That's why they have that power. And that's why the dream group can go deeper, because all these different members, each one speaking for themselves, the dreamer suddenly wakes up, well, gee, that's true for me too, a little bit. And that's true in a different way. And so the dreamer in the end, well, we could never do it ourselves. The dreamer does it. The dreamer does go deep. I believe that dreams can be understood. I disagree that dreams cannot be understood. And I don't think it's okay. I believe that dreams can allow our unfathomable inner core to surface momentarily. Okay, yes. The same when I was meditating and I had some enlightened experience, boom, it's gone. It's here and it's gone. Momentarily. In the dream groups it happened. I've seen it happen with students. And it's happened with me, of course. And this unfathomable core surfaces momentarily within us, and it makes us know ourselves for the first time for who we really are. We've been running around with some false story, some false idea of who I am. The dream group can break, the dream can break through that. So I disagree with that point. And also, I feel unlearning is important, but it's not something we can make ourselves do. We unlearn when we learn something deeper. When we learn something deeper, like if many of the female students in my group have experience with men, and it comes out in their dreams and everything, and they think, well, this man was a true love and everything, but then when another man comes along, who's really a true, then they know by comparison, you know. And so we unlearn when we learn something deeper. We unknow when we know something deeper. And that happens to people in dream groups all the time. That's what it's about. The dream group is a powerful technology, and shamanism and all these technologies are the same. About relinquishing our preconceptions before we can learn. There's that famous Zen story about the student that went to the master, and as he sat there, and the master, the helper brought in a pot of tea and 2 little cups, and the student kept going on and on about what he knew. I know this about Zen, I know that about Zen, I know that about Zen. He wanted the master to accept him as a student because he knew so much. And the master was quiet, didn't say a word. Then he picked up the teapot. Everybody knows his story. And he poured it into the cup, and he kept pouring. And the student said, master, the cup is overflowing. It was going all over the table. And the master said, yes. He said, you can't put anything into a full cup. And that's the way your mind is. Go away, empty it, and come back. And what he meant is you need some experience meditating before I'll take you as a student. That's what these are. Uspensky, the Gurdjieff disciple, he said, learning is not about grasping, looking for what we don't know. That's not learning. Learning is about realizing that we do know is wrong. And in other words, what we need to learn are the things we think we already know. So these ideas are everywhere in the mystical traditions. Meditation, prayer, yoga, these can't do anything. These won't work. Oh, no, we can't find it. It finds us. You meditate, you do yoga, you get into your body, you fall in love, you have sex, all these different things. You work with dreams. You can't find it. It finds you. It comes from the other side. It's not us. We can't do anything. And the honesty, sincerity, truthfulness, authenticity, these are results. They're not pathways to go there. They're the results that happens when we work with dreams for 30 or 40 years, or with meditation, or you do yoga. And about leaving the method behind, yes, the Zen story is when you're in a rowing on a boat and you get to the other side of the river, you got to leave the boat on the shore and go start walking. You can't walk around carrying your boat with you. There's no more river. These are common sense things. I feel the understandings we get in dream groups are not superficial. They're not. I've seen too many people's lives change. My life has been changed, not from a dream group, but from something that happened to me when I was alone that I talk about in my first book. This is not superficial. People can call things superficial and pontificate. It doesn't mean it's superficial just because someone says it's superficial. And also, this idea that a dreamer can't go all the way. The Ullman Dream Group is not about any dreamer going all the way and seeing the ultimate. It's not. Each dreamer only moves as far as that person can go. We all of us have different constraints in our ego and who we are and what we are. And maybe we can only go so far this time. Maybe next time we can go farther. Maybe we don't want to go farther. You know, it's up to the dreamer. And I feel that to become and to know the whole ocean, I think that's nonsense. The wave doesn't have to know the ocean. The wave is the ocean. That's the insight. We are that. We are that. Famous Nisargadatta Maharaja wrote a book called I Am That. And what he meant by that is the ocean. And I think the deepest core is always present in all of us, always. We're the ones that are absent. The deepest core is there. We're not listening to it. Our work with dreams is not superficial. I've worked with dreams too long to hear that and let someone say that. And our seeking is not fruitless. What the seeking does is it chips off the part of us that need to be removed. Now, I know because I spent like maybe 35 years in New York City trying to become a novelist, and I failed. So my seeking was a failure? No, that was my path. It's like the statue of Michelangelo. Imagine the statue standing there, David or something, and every time Michelangelo, bang, bang, and another chip falls off, and the statue, oh, you know, it's not useless. It's not useless. It's by what you take off. These things that come off of us when we go through experiences like that, heartbreak, failure, all these things shape us because parts of us that are being taken off are the fake parts. And so my final question is, how does this relate to the main topic of this video, Mcgilchrist and the left brain? I don't know. Those are my responses to the slides. I think it was beautifully done. And essentially, to tell you the honest truth, I agree with every word of it. But I just wanted to say these things because I agree with those words, but in a different way. That's all I have to say about that.
Yeah, Bill, I have known you for decades. Yeah, for many decades. And we have those different views we have had always, and it's very good for this video because like this, those who watch this video, they can hear very different angles, views, and that is very fruitful. So that, like that, Will and we offer quite a fantastic material for our audience to ponder upon.
Marco, do you want to say anything more, or do you want to?
No,
leader?
no.
You want to give it over to Julia now?
Yes, yes. I am not I am not host there in any way.
So Julia has material.
Yes, I can show you some of our Dreams ID work. I'm trying to kind of, in my mind, I'm trying to sort of make connections between what's been said so far. So Dreams ID started in 2016, and I started to draw images while my collaborator Mark Blagrove used the Ullman technique, and he uses it very carefully, as I know you do, Bill, and very much as Montague Ullman directed. And I've also led groups as well, but I think possibly what links me and Nina is that when I'm drawing, I go into a kind of what I would call a shamanistic state, in that I lose language and I work in lots of different levels onto a text, and I use Freud's text, The Interpretation of Dreams, because it offers a kind of a framework through which some of the language from Freud comes through. So we're combining, I suppose, the Ullman technique and these words from Freud. And I'm just going to show you some of those, and then maybe Nina can comment a bit, because I don't know a great deal about shamanism, but within design, which is where I work as well, there is a kind of dawning of this idea of design shamanism, which is that designers work as mediators to offer improved design, maybe to do with service design or sustainable design, that kind of thing, through mediation and working with clients or stakeholders. So I'll just quickly share some of the work. So I'm just going to show you, I won't show you some of the earliest work, but one of the things that we've done most recently is we did a series of work through lockdown where we worked with key workers, NHS workers, for example, and we drew their dreams using the Ullman technique and a global audience. So interestingly, each time, I suppose this is different from the way you all work, because each time we have a different audience, and each time we find that the dreamer is completely amazed by the insights that they have. And then the purpose of the painting, which, as I say, is done on the interpretation of dreams, the purpose of the painting is to act as a kind of mnemonic almost to that day and the discussions that were had, and they then can continue with a piece of work like this in their own home, because we give them the piece of work, and they can work in their own home and talk about the dream even more, so that the experience of this dream group carries on into their with their family and friends. And one of the things that Mark and I noticed was that we were feeling incredible empathy for the dreamer. And we began to notice this because a couple of people told us dreams, and at first we were both of us felt quite annoyed that people wouldn't, they were almost not wanting to share, but had wanted to share. And and then a little bit in us was a little bit of, come on, share the dream, and a bit of anger maybe. And then suddenly realized when the dreams came out, how beautiful, this was when we were first starting, how beautiful and special they were. And then how much we felt for the dreamer after this feeling of maybe a little bit of, maybe it was more irritability than anger, but that soon dissipated, and we suddenly were taken into this world of the dream and what the dream was communicating, and the metaphors and the visual metaphors as well that we were understanding. And we then started to write about this empathy that comes through the telling of the dream and my immersion in the dream and the painting of the dream. And we began to link that to fiction, because there's lots of research on fiction increasing empathy in readers. And then from that, we began to think that possibly there is a purpose for dreams, maybe a purpose that is that telling them could be a part of how groups bond and have bonded through centuries, that the telling of a dream, the creating of a narrative, and the not understanding. So you are in a position where you don't understand what's happening in this dream. And that space of not understanding something allows a community to develop that can help you, that can say what you were doing and what you were experiencing in the days before, and how that might be being interpreted by your dream. And so we've written about this and think that this is quite an important part of dreaming, that it can make communities. That's my kind of base. I mean, if you spoke to Mark, it would be much more right-brained, and this is why we work really well together, because he's very, very much more right-brained, and I'm working in this space of the image of the dream. And so on our website, you can see images like this, and then the dream underneath. And I find poetry in the words. And I think this is rather nice as well, that we're kind of using these words from Freud, but using them in a different way, in a more spontaneous way, in a more artistic way. This was the dream of a doctor who'd been graduated very quickly in order to go onto the wards to deal with COVID. And he dreamt about being with his girlfriend, who was now his wife, and that they had a child, which they don't have, and that he was living in a space which through luck, Mark had lived in the town where he came from, which is Nottingham. And Mark said, oh, there's a famous pub there that's built in a cave. And he was going, oh yeah, that was my favorite pub. And Mark was saying, isn't it interesting that these spaces, the pub has become your home, and you have a child. And so everything in your life has been accelerated. And I wrote a little poem here: wife, girl, him, and together the two dream. Here over this character. So there's some really lovely findings that often happen in the words. So they're kind of palimpsest of what Freud wrote, and then new things that are coming up on top. So yeah, I just thought I'd like to show you these images for discussion, I suppose. So I'll just stop. I'll just stop sharing now, if that's okay, and then maybe we can talk about them. Yeah, Nina, what do you think? I mean, I don't have a lot of knowledge of shamanism, but I definitely go into a space and I can't speak because I've said to Mark, don't ask me any questions because I can't respond. Because what I'm doing is so complex in finding shapes in the paragraphs and finding words and creating narratives. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing all of that. Again, so much is happening, but what was interesting that when you first presented the pictures of the dreams that were illustrated and the whole images, I felt very moved. I was even tearing up, and I didn't know why. So, and then you spoke about the empathy. And then I thought, oh, there it was. So it's kind of this stuff. It's the stuff that just kind of happened. And I think when I'm trying to sort of give words to the all of the thoughts or some kind of rational words around the thoughts that have come up when all of you have been talking, I think where I come from is a place where both the kind of right brain and the left brain, they're very distinct jobs, and I think what's dangerous is if we start to think, well, right brain good, left brain bad. It's just as dangerous as putting it the other way around. So I think why shamanistic work is for me such a sober and kind of it's such a truthful and down to earth way of looking at things, is because it's, of course, it's absolutely true that when I do my shamanic journeying, of course I need my ego to form images. That's what it does, because the material, as Markku spoke, I agree completely with Markku about the fact that what is the black hole of the psyche? It doesn't have form. It's not to be understood in any way. It doesn't even have form. So in order to in any way connect with anything from there, we need images, and I would not perhaps call it contamination, because I think that gives it a little bit of a, I think I understand where Markku is coming from with the word, but I think I would just call it's a necessity, because my ego, hopefully when it's kind of working in a balanced way, it just gives me images, it gives me form, and it's personal. Another shamanic practitioner would have different images. Their guides and their images would be different, obviously, because it's the form that they would understand. So I think simultaneously I agree and disagree with contamination. I would say it's just a necessity, but I do know that my image, when I'm doing a shamanic journey, I know that these aren't the real thing in its sense. These are the images. These are these point to the symbols, which I mean these are symbols which point to what is or isn't, but I cannot know about that. So I would say Jung's work has informed me a lot in this sense, because it helps understand that whatever is there for us to kind of grab and work with is not the real thing. And in that sense, I do agree with Markku that we cannot know. There is no way of knowing. But I agree with Bill in the idea that we have to do the search, because otherwise there's no way we can know that we don't know, because you just have to come to that conclusion, and that's the work. I don't know if I'm making any sense, but I am inspired by you guys, so maybe that you pick.
I have some responses to both of you, but Markku, I think it's your turn to speak, Markku.
Well, I don't obey any turns, so we speak or don't speak. This is a free speech.
Okay, I just didn't want to stick myself in too much. So if I have things to say about both. Let me start with Julia. Well, I read The Interpretation of Dreams. I read that, of course, a long time ago, and I was very impressed with it. It's a masterful work. I mean, Freud is a great writer. He's a very good writer. Montague Ullman, unfortunately, is not. Well, everybody knows about Freud, but Montague Ullman discovered something really important. Freud is wrong about dreams. That book is wrong about dreams. When we have an image in a dream, it's not to cover up some image we don't want to show. No, that image, that is a metaphor for something that we do. Deep in our unconscious part knows, but it doesn't speak our language, it speaks pictures. And also, when we daydream, it's wishful thinking. Oh, and then I met her and she was so pretty and she invited me up to her place. Oh, and I went there. And then, you see, I just make up a story that follows what I want. I just want to get my hands on this girl. Dream is not like that. All you need to do is listen to someone's dream and all the horrible things that happen to them in a dream. This is not wishful thinking. It's not. Dreams are metaphor. They're metaphor. It's the expression of the truth. And why? Because as Mcgilchrist said about the left and right brain, the left brain, if it has something and a piece is missing in its puzzle, it makes it up. It just invents it. Then it demands that you be taken seriously. The right brain is different. The right brain is what he calls a bullshit indicator. The right brain tells the truth. It's like the story of the little boy in the Emperor's New Clothes. Here, the Emperor is strutting down the street, and everybody, of course, they don't want everybody to think they don't deserve their job. Oh, what a beautiful garment the Emperor has. But the little boy tugs at his mommy's skirt. Mommy, look, the Emperor has no clothes. The little boy said it. A dream is like that little boy. It tells the truth to our lie. Montague Ullman put it in these words. He said, we are not so truthful when we're awake. We are expedient. We'll say what serves our interest. Dreams are not. Dreams tell the truth, the raw truth. So it's not wishful thinking at all. Freud was wrong. And this business about sex, everything, sex, well, we all love sex. Don't knock sex, but that's not all we are, you know? And the point is that dreams are about so much more than sex, so much more. And one thing that's more than sex is relationship. Dreams are about relationships. Montague Ullman pointed that out. And I don't want to go into it, take up too much time talking. And another thing is Freud's idea.
Can I say something just to follow up on your point? We did a drawing on the anniversary of Freud's patient Dora, who's a kind of feminist hero, and I won't go into the story of Dora because it's probably people know it. But I did we did two paintings, one from the beginning of her time seeing Freud, and the other one at the end of her time. And at the end of her time, there was a dream, and Freud related it to sex quite a lot. And we actually had Dora's great-granddaughter, who is a writer called Katarina Adler, and she joined in on our session. And she said at the end of the session, which we did with a big audience and people were contributing, and she said, isn't it interesting that not one person has mentioned sex? And we didn't. So we used the Ullman technique to go through the dream. We used her waking life connections to the dream from Freud's case study, and we discussed it as a group. And yeah, nobody talked about anything sexual. We all talked about the metaphors and what they might mean. So it was a rather positive experience to do that.
Well, the thing with Dora is that I don't know it like you know it, but and also I wouldn't pay attention to Freud's account because I think he was a perpetrator. I think there's some evidence that he seduced her or something of that nature. I don't know the story.
I'm not aware of that side of it. I mean, really what Freud did was he did listen to her, and he did say in his notes that he believed her. So that was quite positive.
No, I think he didn't seduce her. Her father or some relative of hers was fiddling with her.
Mm.
Is that the way?
Yes. Yeah, it was this guy called who was called in the notes Herr K. That was the story, that he had made an advances to her, and she nobody believed her. So the father sent her to Freud because he thought she was making it up. But it was a very complex story because the father was having an affair with this person's wife, and it was extremely complex. But Freud did believe her and did say, yes, I think this is happening to you. So that was quite positive, really, that no one else believed her, but Freud did.
Anyway, the third point, because you know much more about that case than I do. The third point is this business of Freud's idea of the subconscious. I'm the conscious, and then there's a subconscious that's below me. And those are all the bad things I want to do. I want to have sex with this person. I want to shoot that person. I want to, all that stuff. And Jung, I think Jung's idea is so much more beautiful. That part of our mind isn't just our inferior parts, but maybe predominantly it's our superior parts, religion, art, all the body. It's Freud got it wrong. There's so many things he got wrong, and he got so badly wrong. I would paint your art on Jung's or Montague Ullman.
Yes, but the thing is, I must say I haven't tried it onto Jung's work, but the thing is that book is so rich for pulling out language. It's not like we're using.
Oh, you're right.
Because every page is about the dream, so it works very well visually. And so of course I'm looking at it in terms. So you've got your large sections of notes which I use to show different things. So visually, it's a brilliant book to work with.
It is a brilliant book. It's wrong, but it's brilliant, and he does have beautiful language. And I just want to say another thing. You talked about, anyway, we work in the dream group. And I mean, I've been doing this for a long time. And I do it at the university with students. And some students, some nondescript student will come in that, the feeling you get, and the student doesn't make very many contributions. And the feeling you get of that person, I mean, that's sort of a dud. You know what I mean?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, and then to come forth to share a dream, and then tell the context, and you're blown away.
Yes, that's happened to us several times. Yeah,
the feeling of how
it's incredible
this person is. What a rare creature this person.
Yes,
is. And everybody in the dream group had been ignoring that person. Then after they share the dream, everybody connects with them. Everybody knows them. Everybody talks to them, and that person is welcome into our. That's sort of what you say about the function.
Yes. Yeah.
And also, another point that I want to say about, you talked about telling dreams in a group, the function, you're talking about that. The thing is that I'm really blown away when I'm reading Mcgilchrist for the second time now, and I'm blown away by how terribly important the unconscious is, how so much more than I ever thought. And when you tell a dream to someone, now if someone tells me their dream always now, And before I would tell, oh, this means this means that. No, now they tell me the dream and I don't know. I have no idea what it means until the dreamer starts telling us things. But there are people in my group when in the stage where you question the dreamer about about the dream to make it more clear. There are these nitpicking people who pick all these little things, these questions that take the dreamer away from the process, and they don't understand. And what it is I was thinking about why I realized that what I do when the dreamer tells a dream, I don't understand the dream, but somehow in all these years, the barrier between me and my unconscious has gotten thinner. And so I can feel that there is an understanding there. That's Václav Havel's concept of faith. He said, faith is the knowledge that there is something there. You know, it's not making yourself, I believe that Jesus rose on the third. It's not that crap. It's the knowledge that there is something there. Like my boyfriend may be a scab, but I have faith in him. I do know he does love me. That's that idea. And so I feel that in a group, like I'm thinking of people around a campfire, tribal people, a long time ago in the Stone Age, when mankind was just forming. I think dreams have been tremendously important. The right brain in nature, when you live in nature, like Nina's going to talk about this, in nature, the right brain is important because you connect in so many ways with the surroundings. Now we're sitting here staring at computer screens all day. We don't connect with anything, not even with ourselves. But anyway, when these primitive people told the dream in a group, the other members unconsciously understood. They felt something. It was like he was talking about them. And that makes the group closer. And then they start talking and telling their stories. That happens in our dream group. Other people tell their stories. We don't get a chance to speak up and tell our stories. We're supposed to talk about this. We're supposed to talk about that. What about talking about me? Oh, no, you know. And so the dream group is special in that. So I just want to respond to you. And I want to say something to Nina. I don't think in a million years, Mcgilchrist, he's not a black and white person, would say that the right brain is good, the left brain is bad. No, not in a million years. What Mcgilchrist is doing is trying to correct an imbalance. I mean, I remember the years when I read so many times, oh, the left brain is the main part of our brain. The right brain is just the sex, dancing, singing, you know what I mean? Inconsequential stuff like art. And that's bullshit. That's not true. And he's trying to correct that by saying the right brain not only is the first one to develop. I mean, for the first year of life, the child is completely right brain. The right brain is first one developed. It develops differently. It's organized in a different way, and it's bigger than the left brain. And the left brain lives in a box of ideas, its own ideas. I think this, I think that. The right brain is connected. It's like a woman in a sense, in that it's now these are stereotypes you're not supposed to use these days. But back in Einstein's days, he called that the feminine side. And it's like a woman in this way, that a woman is connected with the family and with children and with neighbors, and the man is just doing his work. He's in his narrow little world. The right brain is like that woman. She's connected with so much more, connected with her body in a much more beautiful way than a man. A man, boom, 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 it's over. But the woman, it's something deeper. Her sex is within herself. The man's is a little bit outside himself. So these, anyway. And also I feel, they're talking to Nina, I don't think images come from the ego. Because when I lie down to sleep, now you said you're narcoleptic. I always suspected I was narcoleptic. And I asked Montague Ullman, I said, what is narcoleptic? I said, and he said, well, if you, when you lie down and go to sleep, as soon as you go to sleep, if the images come immediately. And so that happens to me. All I need to do is lie down and close my eyes and there are images there. And these do not come from the ego. These come from what happens when the poor, tired ego dozes off to sleep. The images come running in because this is the language of what's beyond the ego. And our images are different.
Can I correct a little bit? I did not say images come from the ego. I said the ego forms images of that which is real. So that was a little bit different from how you perhaps understood what I said, but please continue.
But the images the ego forms are not real, really. anyway, let's forget about that. We don't need this. People, the images are different between you and me and other, because our experiences are different. That's why these images are pictures of our experience. And I also feel that images are the real thing. They express, the images are metaphors, and a metaphor is something that expresses what cannot be expressed in words, because always reality is continually changing. Always the reality we face in this moment is different than the one we think. And our ego lives in the past. The shaman, when he goes into his trance, I know those trances. I've used that for many years, and I have an experience in my childhood with a shaman who worked on our farm, and he saved my mother's life. And I was very close with that man, so I have a feeling for these people and the way they are. And I think we need to respect images. These are images of they're true. They're true in a really important way. They're true in the same way that these trance things, when you go into a trance, I did for many, many, many years, I did trance dancing in New York. I'd go into a disco and all by myself, I'd be trance dancing. It was just an amazing experience. The things that come about that way. From the body, if you let different parts of the body talk, this is what my stomach says, this is what my heart says, this is what my sex says, this is what my head says. I believe in images anyway. I'm sorry if I'm talking too much. I'm not going to have a section at the end, so I'll talk to you for long. Someone next, I don't want to say it's turn, it's your turn, but does anyone want to say anything? Markku, do you want to ask any of us questions?
No.
Yeah, I just you mentioned nature and the kind of connection and it's of course dreams for me are nature. So what I find is actually it's kind of it's so clear and it's so simple, I think, to kind of to realize that dreams are nature. Just it's not like they represent nature, but they are something that really relates to us as absolute parts of nature. And I think that why sharing dreams perhaps in groups is so important, I think, is the fact that it keeps open the portal to the fact that we are just as much nature as the other than human peoples are as well. So I think that portal, that whatever, there are many ways, many portals, but I think dreams are probably the kind of king portal, because it's kind of given, it's given and it's there. Evolution hasn't got rid of dreams, because if they didn't have an absolute purpose, then probably it would just be a waste of energy, because a lot of energy is taken by dreams, obviously, and all of that stuff that happens with us. So I think just that, even talking about nature, there's that risk that we think, oh, this is me and there's nature over there when I go out. But the fact that nature is, there's no this and that. It just is, and we are all, I myself am constantly in the risk of kind of that dualistic thinking, that left brain stuff, that okay, here's me at my workplace, and if I go out into the forest, then I'm in nature. And I think that's where we go terribly wrong. It's the same. I think it's the same with dreams. To think about dreams is, oh, there's my life and here's my work and my hobbies, and there's nature and then there's dreams. That's not true. It's twisted. I think dreams, like in the Ullman group, there comes a time in the group session that no one really cares whose dream it is, and no one really cares about any of the kind of little stuff like whose dream and who's what. And it's like suddenly we drop into that collective something that I remember that feeling of thinking, whose dream is this? Does it matter? It's like whatever. And I that dropping into that space is probably one of the most intense and wonderful feelings that I've experienced in the dream group, of really thinking, oh shit, we really are in that shared space where even where I end and the other person begins doesn't really matter anymore, because this is us. And then we can come out, as the shaman does, goes in and then out, and can do this willingly. So it's not the same as being psychotic. You can choose. You can go in and then you can come out and do your everyday left brain stuff and be okay. And so I think just that really that naturalness of everything, just, you know, looking at everything without the stories, without the constant kind of analytic and comparative thoughts. And that's left brain, and it's important. I'm a person of science also. I appreciate science, but this kind of not seeing things as they are is I think it's a bit of a disease we face, and that's what really compels me to bring people into that connection with, if we would call it nature without it being outside, then that would be when I work in an ecotherapy manner, or when I work with dreams, when I do my everyday psychotherapy, when I'm with my animals. I have 3 dogs and a cat. It's the same stuff. Or when I do my shamanic journeying, it's the same stuff. It's not a different part. It's just a way of doing the same stuff, really.
Like a continuum.
Yeah.
Like a continuum. One of the things that I've noticed, and this happens to me every time, and I've been doing this since 2016, and we started off 20 minutes and I was just doing a quick sketch and giving it to people. And then it has developed now to sort of 90 minutes. But at the beginning, I always feel this isn't going to work this time. I'm not going to find any language. It's not going to work. Why am I doing this? It's not going to, and I go through this stage and I keep thinking, you know, when you do acting and you go onto a stage and, you know, your nerves kind of tend to get better because you've done it and you kind of know, oh yeah, I'm going to go out there. I feel a bit nervous, but this never goes away. And it's almost, I think, like a part of the shamanic process, that there's a kind of thing you have to get through, which is, I'm not going to be able to, it's total lack of confidence in your own ability to do this technique. And it happens every time. And it's almost stops me doing it. And then I just go somewhere and it opens up. It's like and then I've gone and then I can't, then I find it very difficult to speak. But I don't know, is that something you've experienced with shamanic processes at all?
Absolutely. I felt a bodily connection to what you just said, and something really strange just happened when you spoke. I remembered a dream from last night where I was in a classroom. This is really amazing. I was in a classroom and I was a student, and we had a task. The teacher, it was an arts class, and the teacher said, okay, now you all just draw whatever comes to your mind. And there was one kind of example, a little paper where she had just drawn a spiral of different colors. You could do it like this, or in another way that comes from whatever you're experiencing. And I was sitting there and thinking, yeah, that looks really, really nice, that spiral of different colors. But I had another idea, and I didn't know what was coming onto that paper. But it was, I was experiencing exactly what you just spoke about, that lack of confidence, and then that, you know, the kind of knowing that it probably will come if I just courageously go into that not knowing, but that same feeling. And then that part of the dream ended with me. I had a lamp in my hand and it made images of little clouds onto the walls. And I thought, am I allowed to have my little lamp? And then the teacher just looked at me and kind of approved in silence. It's amazing. It had that same feeling that you just spoke about. And that was my dream last night.
Wow, that's amazing. And I there's a real connection there. I do find it completely debilitating though. And it's like, I will not be able, it's not like I think I'm going to get through this. It's like, oh, this time I'm not going to be able to do this. This is the time I'm not going to be, and it happens every time. This is the one. This is the time when I have to stand up and say, I'm really sorry, everybody. I can't do it this time. It's so weird.
In shamanic work, that happens when you kind of go down or up or wherever you go with your guide. And you just think, oh, just everyday stuff kind of flooding in my this worldly left brain stuff flooding in. I can't do it. I'm not seeing anything. Where's my guide? Lost everything. And it's this kind of, oh, I can't do it. And there's even a feeling that I must be really bad at this. Maybe I'm kind of faking it. Maybe and just really letting myself drop further down really helps. To really kind of just letting go of that and being with it. Yeah,
it's interesting because one of the reasons Bill asked me to join in today is because I'd written something on one of his posts, and it was that I studied as an artist up until my 30s and had a kind of an art practice and did a BA and an MA in painting and had a gallery and all this kind of thing. And then I went off to Japan and did stuff there, and I started language teaching, and I started looking at the relationships between. And then I did an MA in language teaching when I came back from Japan. And at that point, my dreams stopped because I always had really vivid dreams, very colorful dreams, everything. And I had a studio and I continued to paint. And one of the weird things is that what I ended up painting was spirals, which is what you've just talked about. But they were one color spirals, and I just kept doing them. And in the end, I stopped painting because I'd got to a point where that was all I could paint, and then I stopped. So that's quite bizarre about what you've just said there. And also my spirals tended to be, I tended to be one color, so they tended to be yellow, and for some reason I'd got stuck in this space of yellow spirals, and I just was kind of, I can't get through this. I can't get through this. And I think there's something about practitioners where people stop making art. I know a lot of artists who've stopped making art, and actually one of the reasons is that they hit these blocks, these walls that are to do with moving their practice forward. And if you don't have techniques or processes for dealing with how you go beyond that wall, you do tend to stop. And if you can do anything else, like I became interested in the relationship between language and image, and I did studies of dyslexia. I've looked at autism. I've looked at all sorts of ways that language and image work. And in the end, I ended up doing a PhD. And after that, the PhD, which was looking at collaborative writing, actually, for designers. So how you might write and use imagery to help your writing and get into the right side of the brain, which is why I was reading Mcgilchrist when I did that. So I think these processes and how they link to dreaming, for me, is quite... something I feel, like you were talking about feeling in your body. I really feel this because I've been through experiences where the dreams stop. And to me, it's because all I've been looking at during the day is text. And I think text is really boring to look at. And this is why I think I draw on to text, because I'm trying to make sense of something in a visual way. And that's my way. My voice is to work on top of something, to sort of objectify and to try and push away the words that people think are so important, and to try and say, well, actually, I can make something else out of these words, and I can make something beautiful out of these words that can be understood in a different way.
Yeah, I love that. When I saw your work with the book underneath and the illustration on top, I thought that was a shamanic way of working with that book, not the content, but the energy that it was pushing
there
out.
We go. Yeah.
So it's different eyes. Yeah.
Yes, that's what I'm trying to do. And I'm not trying to say, here's this book and everybody should read it. I'm trying to sort of say there are other ways that we can approach text. And I'm trying to say there's a visual way to approach text and to pull words from a text and to see them differently.
I just wanted to say something about what Nina said a while back. I didn't want to interrupt you two because you were going there. But what you said about dreams and nature, of course, is my own innermost passion. Dreams being our inner nature. And I can tell stories about how when I was in New York, I went through a period where I had so many dreams of wandering through this wasteland where the trees were cut down and burnt and the forests were gone. And I was dreaming about my homeland in Cuba. And then quite a few years later, when I had gotten up on my feet again and I had a job, I had the money and I did go back to Cuba, and they sneaked me in through Mexico. And I went back to the Isle of Pines where I grew up. And it was true. What I was dreaming was true. They destroyed the forest. They cut down the pines. The communists, they destroyed the river. They destroyed a nature preserve I made. It was true. My dreams were true.
Wow.
And what the wasteland that I was going through, all of Cuba was stuck in that same wasteland. It wasn't just me. I was connected with Cuba, even though I was far away. So nature means so much to me. I grew up way out in the wilds of Cuba, and I didn't have the books that other children had. I tried to be a writer all my life, but I didn't have books. I had nature. I would walk out with my dog through the river and in the forest, terrified of crocodiles and everything. But I feel what I got from the nature is more important than what so many people got from the books. And I just want to say the words you said, Nina, every word, I think those may be the most important text in this whole video. I feel it's the most beautiful thing I've ever heard. I couldn't take notes because every word, every sentence, every gesture was true. Where to separate this from that, I couldn't. It was all one piece that came out. And so beautifully, I think that was beautiful. And also I think your dream, I think we actually could work with it here a little bit if you want later, but I don't want to go into that now. I want to respond to Julia about what you said. See, these are what we have here is creative people talking. And God, don't we know about doubt, you know? And I could tell about a relationship where I was in, a love relationship, where one of the people started doubting the other one, and it killed the love. Doubt can kill love so easy. People think, oh, this love is a lifelong love. It's so vulnerable. Nature is the same. In our inner inspiration, that inner nature, our inner human nature, that creative nature, if you doubt it, of course you have it. But if you doubt it, you see, this is what they've taught you. This is your conditioning all those years in the university and everything. And so I think the remedy for doubt is faith, to have faith. You know, I'm Julia. These things really matter to me. Would they matter if I didn't have them in me? No. Would I appreciate that if it wasn't in me too? No. You know, and you realize how special you are, how special Julia is. And then you live on that, you day by day with I can't tell you how many, it was decades almost, I went through with no external evidence that I had any ability to write. Zero. People told me, Bill, you can't write, stop it. You know, well, faith pays off. And the same with faith in relationship, faith in everything. And it's not like I want to make myself believe this. This is, you know, Jesus walked on water. No, that's bullshit. It's faith. Faith that is true in a deep way. And I was, speaking of walking on water, I was with the Thich Nhat Hanh, the Buddhist monk, walking right alongside him once. And suddenly it struck me that the way he walked, so gentle and so kind to the earth, that must have been the way Jesus walked. And when Jesus walked that way, the walking on water is a metaphor. It's not, people reify these metaphors and they turn all religions into phony stories and myths into crap. And it's deeper, there's a deeper. And so the world that you go to, Julie, and the world that Nina goes to, and actually the Factor X that Markku goes to, these are true. These are deeper things, and these are true. They're true. They're so true. And that's a nice thing, working like in a partnership with Mark, what's his name? And
Mark Blagrove, yeah.
Blagrove, and working like Nina does with her in the shamanic, is that our belief is reinforced by what we see happening, what we can make of the magic that happens. Our belief is reinforced. Is so important. It's so important to own these steps, not just talk about them, words, but own them, live them. So Julia, I would never doubt yourself. Everything and Nina, I only wish I wish everybody thought about nature the way you do. And our nature, our dreams, so many people over here in Asia, where I live, they're Buddhist. Well, one great American Buddhist said, he gave a workshop and the woman said, but I can't become a Buddhist, I'm Catholic. And he said, no, I don't want you to become a Buddhist, I want you to become a Buddha. And that's what it's about. We're called upon to be Christ and Buddhas, not be that other thing. So anyway, I'm sorry if yellow spirals. When something like this happens, I saw a film about an impressionist. What was his name? That did water lilies. What was that man's name? I'm like Markku, I can't remember. Monet. And so he did water lilies, and he didn't say, "Oh, all I'm doing now is water lilies. I better stop." No, he kept doing water lilies, and he did them and did them and did them. And the yellow spirals. It doesn't have to be a blockade. It could be a passage that looks like a blockade. I read a Doris Lessing book where she saw this creature walk up a sheer wall, and she got to that wall herself, and she saw, oh, you can walk up this, because there were little spaces you could just hold to and walk right up it. It's not what we think. We can all do this. What the great people have done, what the shamans have done, Nina can do. What the artists have done, you can do. I just want to say that. I don't want to talk too much. Markku, do you want to say something to anybody?
Well, that thing that unites us, as Nina said, for us all, dreams are the king portal. You said, Nina, that. And so that is what unites us through dreams. And it's all I want to say.
Freud called it the royal road to the unconscious. And in my thinking, I've turned that upside down. I feel it's the royal road for the unconscious to come out to us, like in the shamanic trance. It's the unconscious is the main one coming out to us. We're visited by something, like an angel or something. That angel is us, anyway.
Can I share another synchronistic event that happened? My dream, I only just remembered while we were online, which was quite amazing, and all the spirals and that making art stuff was quite interesting and wonderful. But another thing that happened this morning, unfortunately, I wasn't fast enough to take a picture. I would have wanted to, but it was over before I got my phone. But I came down, I woke up and I came down the stairs, and there on the floor, I saw my cat with a book. And what had happened was there was a pile of books, and there was lots of books on a chair. My cat had pushed down one book, and it was Iain Mcgilchrist's Master and His Emissary. And my cat was lying like this with the book underneath, like this, looking at me. And that was it. And I thought, well, wow. And it was like left brain and right brain were there. It was like, okay, this is words, wonderful science, and Iain Mcgilchrist's amazing use of left brain to invite the right brain being into life. And there was the cat who was of nature, that animal was lying on top of that book, on top, obviously, as we would like probably the right brain to be the kind of master and not the emissary, maybe, but it was wonderful the way he was just there looking, and all the other books were nicely in piles, but there was that one book and the cat, and that kind of, it's just one of these wonderful things that you can't really, there is obviously no causal relation. My cat didn't know what we're going to be doing today. He obviously doesn't know what that book is about. He doesn't even know that it's a book, but that wonderful kind of feeling of, oh, well, of course, yes. Hello, cat, and hello, Mcgilchrist's wonderful book, and today we're making this video. So it's this this world where things just are, we don't, as the dreams, we don't have to interpret them in the sense that, oh, right, this means this because of this, and we don't have to know the kind of that why that my teacher in shamanism always said that the question why things happen is a bit silly. It's very often a waste of energy, this why. Of course, in the physical world and in science, we're interested in the why. That's one of the main things that we're interested in. But kind of attaching onto that why will really draw us away from that which is, and where that kind of space where the question why is a bit funny. Even like my guides, when I ask questions like why or very kind of left brain questions, they find it funny because it's a funny human thing to do, to ask too many whys. And so kind of I don't know what, maybe my cat brought me to this space, but I was just associating freely. But this kind of synchronistic world where it's acausal, it's not a cause and effect relationship. It's a relationship of deep meaning, and I think that's just really clear. And at the same time, it's something that is being denied by kind of mainstream Western way of life, which is really, it makes me sad. It makes me incredibly sad. And many of my clients have said, why don't we talk more about dreams? Why don't we pay attention to this? And all I can say is, yes, that's the question. Why don't we do that? Yeah, sorry, I got excited.
I think also.
Beautiful. I just want to respond to her a second. Everything you say is beautiful, Nina. You don't have to be sorry. But I just want to tell a story. In New York, I was there's a Chinese book called The Book of Changes, I think, where you throw these sticks, and then depending how they come, you turn to a certain reading, and it tells. And I was at a stage in my life where I was evolving using a lot of Asian art, yoga, meditation, the kung fu, all the different things. And I was walking down 23rd Street, West 23rd Street in New York City, and right in front of the Chelsea Hotel. As I was walking by, I looked down, and there was the Book of Changes, this big yellow book. I still have that book. It fallen. It was open. It fell on its face down on the sidewalk. Now, I don't know who had it up in the Chelsea Hotel. It was a wild hotel in those days for artists and types like that. But that's sort of like what happened to you with your cat.
Yeah.
And it is synchronistic. And the thing is, and it's not about explaining it. Someone said, I forgot. But anyway, it's the truth. You realize it in nature, and you realize it in dreams, and you realize it everything has intelligence. Everything is connected. It all has intelligence. And so these things talk to us when they happen. We don't know what they are. We don't have to know. That's not what it's about. And I also about interpreting dreams. It's not about interpreting dreams in a dream group. It's about going deeper into them. That's what it's about. It's about going into that deeper, that other space. And we don't ask why. The beginners would do that. And they say, why did you dream of it? No, that's not a permitted question. And it is denied by the mainstream. I spent my life trying to correct that, but I can't do anything. Now go ahead, Julie. I'm sorry.
All I wanted to say was that I think there are changes afoot with how people are valuing dreams, I suppose, because during the COVID outbreak, when people didn't have to get up at ridiculous hours to go to work, everyone increased, their dreams increased, and they started telling dreams, and dreams started to be on Twitter and social media, and people were reporting dreams much more. And I think that as a result, that there will be more of an attention given to dreams, I think, because that's what happened during COVID, and one of the many things. I don't know what other people think about that, but
I feel that in America, I'm an American, but I've lived in Taiwan now for about 20 some years. I go back, and when I go back, it's a shock. It's a real shock. And something really horrible is happening in my country. And I feel that what Mcgilchrist says about going too far to the left brain has no morality. It really doesn't. It's like Donald Trump, and it's like all the Republicans, the lies about, he really tried to steal the election. It's really, he's a traitor. And Mcgilchrist, what he said in the years since that book, it's true. So many countries, Russia, America, Hungary, Brazil, Turkey, so many countries are moving in that it's like Nazi Germany all over again. These things recur. It's like a wave. And I think this business we're doing with dreams is so important, because I think anyway. I'll back off. Nina was agreeing. Nina, you want to say something?
No, I was just nodding because I think I agree with what Markku said in the beginning, that we should I understand with compassion that someone who's only beginning to work with dreams will kind of attach onto the dreams and think, oh, these are wonderful. The dream is kind of the thing. But I think what we are talking about is dreams as portal. It's like it's the medium. It's not the thing that we should get attached to. And that's like Bill said and Markku said earlier, and also like Julia was speaking about through her art, that it's that kind of portal, and when that portal that which humans have used for probably as long as humans have existed, there's been that kind of knowledge that this is our link, this is our kind of the link to that which connects us. And in the shamanistic tradition, there's always two reasons for suffering. One is soul loss, and the other is power loss. And it just to put it briefly, soul loss is what we would call being traumatized and parts of ourselves being lost and detached from ourselves. I think that's the kind of modern psychotherapy stuff that we're quite good at, kind of soul retrieval, if I could put it in the shamanic terms. But the problem is that with power loss, which is the loss of connection, the loss of knowledge about ourselves being part of a whole, that is what's been cut off. It's like we're doing, like in psychotherapy, we're working with the heart, we're working with soul loss, but not with power loss, not with the connection, not with the fact that we are connected to everything. And I think this is what we need to bring back. And dreams are a way of bringing back our power, connecting to our dream images and connecting to that which the dream points to is getting our own power back. And because the power is not us as an individual, it's not like I'm the person. That's the twisted, like you said in politics, that's what happened, that the ego is inflated with stuff that is not real. But the power comes from the fact that we are connected to everything. And I think this is what we need to do as clinicians, as artists, as whatever. We need to kind of make that connection, or not make it, but help make it with our work. And I think dream groups and working with dreams is one of the most amazing ways of kind of mending that power loss, mending that break of connection. I don't know if I'm making any sense to you, if there's anything to relate to.
You make a great deal of sense. I just need to respond. Every time you talk, I need to respond. I feel that waking life is real. And dreams are a portal to a deeper life, a deeper and more real waking life. It comes through dreams to us. It's not that we pursue into dreams for it. And I want to tell a story in New York. I woke up all through the night for years. Year after year after year after year. And I write down almost every single dream I had and tried to work with it. And I wanted to find what Markku talks about as the black hole and everything. I was going for that. And then I had a dream that I was in a tunnel. And I was walking along in a tunnel. I had a flashlight or something. I was going along in a tunnel. And it was this deep, deep tunnel. And then I came to the end. The tunnel ended. There was the end of the tunnel. And there was a sign there. And the sign said, "Go back out." And that changed my life, that dream, because I did go out. And I think we find it by going out, not by going in. We find who we are by connecting with others, not by running away. I just want to be myself. No, by connecting. Some of the most discovery moments in life are when we're making love with the one we love. We know who we are. We discover ourselves through our powers. And I just want to translate what Nina said, bring our power back. I like to translate. I cut out the word power and put in the word love. Bring our love back. Our love for ourselves, our faith in ourselves, our love for each other. Bring our acceptance back. Acceptance of what we really are. Love of what we really are. It doesn't matter what people think about it. You know what I mean? I feel that's, I don't think it's about power. I don't want to have power. But I'm so happy when I can love. It's a different kind of power. It's a power to be connected, not a power over things, but a power to be a part of things. Anyway, Julia, what did you want to say something?
No, I mean, I've really enjoyed this, and it's been a really interesting session and discussion. And it's very interesting to me that I'd never met any of you beforehand. And I feel like even though we're talking down a screen, there is a certain amount of connection. And that's interesting.
I think what you just said is sort of a fitting into this, because we've gone for an hour now. And I think it's been special for me too.
I think it's 2 hours.
2 hours, yeah.
You're kidding.
Yeah.
We have to stop. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to make it so long. I don't know if this
This happens when we drop into that space, time disappears.
Yep.
This happened to me last week with a client. I was not aware of time, and I overdid my time in a great way, and I was a bit embarrassed, but then I realized that, okay, we did drop, and in a way I was a little bit happy about that as well. So yeah, this probably happened. Time, just because time exists only within a certain space of the human existence, so things happen.
We've spiraled.
Yeah, it has been wonderful, and I think that connection, even like I'm thinking that bodily experience that I felt, and a lot of emotion when talking, it just makes, even though this is a screen and you're not in the room, there still is that connection. That it's amazing. It's that energetic area where we connect, and it's quite amazing to experience that.
Well, thank all of you. Markku, would you like to say something, the final word for us?
Well, I don't have any end statement of this. I only stress that we are near the portal, and that what unites us, our audience will evaluate that everybody on its own way. And like that, this video will be very interesting for many people, and that's.
Well, thank you very amazing. Much, Markku, and thank you all of you. I'm going to have to end it now, because if we're going for 2 hours, that's too long. Thank you very much, and bye-bye.
Okay.
Thank you, everyone. Be safe.
Bye-bye.